Yeah. Yes, I went to the grocery store. Guess what I found? Some Guinnesses. Oh my God. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Ah. It's not my favorite Guinness. This is the, what's this called? Guinness Draft Stout. And I mean, it's kind of like bad pizza. Even bad pizza is pretty good, right? So I'll take it. We'll do an ASMR a little later. Tom Laundry is in the building. First here. Hello, sir. So I said I wasn't going to do any more whatever podcast. Well, this one kind of fits into the theme from previous, no accountability, no responsibility. You can't tell me what to do. But you also can't hold me accountable for what I do with my body. Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. Orchestra hit, please. Thank you. Oh, let me turn it up. There we go. There you go. Now, perfect. So, Andrew Wilson, of course. If you don't know who Andrew Wilson is, look up The Crucible on the YouTubes. He and his wife show up on this show quite a bit. And he's pretty straight to the point. He doesn't fuck around too much, which I kind of like about the guy. He's probably what, I don't know, 40 maybe, Gen X, maybe late Gen X, early Gen Z, I don't know. But he doesn't fuck around. And they bring him on this whatever podcast because he doesn't fuck around. And that's why we're here to talk about accountability, because women just cannot be held responsible for what they do. You can't shame me. Who are you to shame me? Well, hey, whatever. You don't like it? Don't be a hoe. Reverend 20 Piece in the building. Hello, sir. Good to see you. Arisaga. Domo arigato arisaga. Good to see you. RO's back. We're all here. Let's see. Later on today, I think Brandon's going to have a stream. Probably Gone with John's going to have a stream. And who knows? Maybe I'll even have one more, depending on if I run out of brewskis. I got enough, but you never know. Sometimes the hamster gets all crazy up in here. Oh my God! We'll try to be conscious here for this. Zealot Master, good morning. It is. What time is it? Just in case you're somewhere around the world. 9:20 a.m. Central Time, United States of America, St. Louis, Missouri, the home of Budweiser beer and the Clydesdales and shit. Stuff like that. All right, let me take a sip of this. So we're talking about accountability. See the previous video. Matt Walsh is finally, excuse me, Matt Walsh is finally waking up to the double standards that the West has allowed. Men in the West have allowed to accumulate over decades, where women can basically do whatever the fuck they want to do. And it's always someone else to blame, men especially. And even Walsh is saying, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. Right? And so this particular whatever stream is dealing with that very topic. So what do you say we just dive right in after I split my screen here so I can read your comments, because that's the most important part of the stream. And I mean that. It's fun. All right, hold on. No, I don't want to go away. Wait a minute. Did I go away? Did I lose me? I did. Oh, my God. Oh, there you are. Okay. I hit the wrong button. There. I can see you now. I can see you now. All right. Go ahead.
Moving on to the next thing. Two of you said women disagreed that women are not oppressed.
Might have to turn that up a little.
That was Amanda and I think Isabella.
Okay.
Amanda, how are women oppressed?
I mean, I think that the double standard of slut shaming.
Excuse me. Now we're going to get to the whole oppressed thing. Right? Andrew Wilson all the time is, oh yeah. What rights don't you have as a woman in this country? Which ones that men have that you don't? Right? These women never have an answer. Because we're at the point of being NPCs. These people are just brain dead. And I don't know where Mr. Atlas, Brian, is that his name? Brian? I don't know where he gets these women. I know he's in California. But fuck me. Could you get some smart women on here again? All right, let's go back.
Oppressed.
I mean, I think that the double standard of slut shaming is a perfect example of,
because somebody is trying to hold you accountable for your decisions in life, right? That's a no-no. We can't have that. Only men can be held accountable for their decisions in life. Is that right? Well, that seems kind of unfair and not equal. Isn't that what feminism is all about?
oppression against
Okay.
women.
Yeah.
Anything else besides that?
Yeah.
I mean, not in the United States.
Okay.
Oh, so she's saying in the United States they're only oppressed when people slow shame them. I mean, they don't have to listen to it. They don't have to change their behavior. And we all know who is slut shaming these women, don't we? It's other women, ain't it? It's the fucking, oh my God.
Why is that? I don't actually understand. How is that oppressive?
They're oppressed. They can't be sluts, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah, how's that?
Well,
How's
they
it
can.
oppressive to hold a stigma against women who have a high body count? Other women do as well. It's not just men.
I mean, it's preference, and that's what it comes down to. And that's what these women, especially when it's Chad, bro, right? Or Tyrone or Chang or Juan or Jesus Enrique, right? The Chad bros are like, oh my God, these guys, the average men like us, we're not people. But it's like, no. You had too many, you had too many cocks. So I'm not interested in wifing you up, but I'll take you to bed. And they seem like they don't make the connection, apparently. Well, what do you mean? I'm good enough to sleep with, but not enough to marry? Mm-hmm. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't think we should be shaming people for their body counts. So,
Of course you don't. And who is doing the shaming?
Yeah, but
I think that
oppression.
I think that the double standard for men comparatively to women is where the oppression comes in.
You mean the double standard for the top shelf men that 80 or 90% of women want, right? Aren't we talking about that? Let's be honest here.
You're using intimidation.
What's the double standard?
Yeah, tell us what that is. Is it a double standard that you're not held accountable for any of your behavior? And men are held accountable even for your decisions in life? How is that fair? And somebody says, you've had too many cocks. I don't want to deal with it. That's a preference, isn't it? I guess not.
That it's okay for a woman or for a man to have a high body count, but not a woman.
Yep.
Who says it's okay? Look who's here, the Pontiac guy. Thumper, the sweaty fat guy from northern Michigan. Man, how you doing? Hey, you're close enough to Canada. They probably sell poutine up there in the UP, don't they? The Upers. Good to see you, man. Hope everything's good. The double standard. And Aldwick is here again. Thank you for the comment. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
So, yeah, I don't understand how that's oppressive.
That's your opinion. I think that it's oppressive.
Well,
You think everything's oppressive. So what's your fucking point? Oh, I'm a woman. I'm oppressed in the West. No, you're not. What's the matter with you? Oh, my
I'm
God.
giving an opinion. I'm just telling you I don't actually understand why it's oppressive, though.
Yeah, how's it oppressive?
You're trying to influence her personal decision making based on your intimidation factors.
We should.
Well, let's see here. Again, 2 Guinnesses in, and I'll tell you what I really think. We keep hearing women, nobody can control my body except me, but you can't control it. You seem to have trouble with that. You seem to have difficulty integrating into normal society. Some of you hoes. I'm not saying maybe some of these women here aren't like that, but let's be honest. Come on now. We all know the kind of chicks that show up on whatever podcast, don't we? They're all OFs and this and that, and they're all hoes.
Good.
Well, wait. Hang on a second. How are you trying to influence her personal decision making?
By making her feel bad about what she's doing.
You can only make yourself feel bad about what you're doing. Isn't that right? People can say whatever they want, but you can just say, fuck it. I don't care what you think. Oh, no. And again, who is doing the shaming? Do you think men, woof, right? Hold on, woof, are going to complain when women want to slut around and fuck? After all, men are all dogs and disgusting pigs and all this other horse shit, right? Right? We want you to be a slut. We just don't want to marry a slut. How hard is this to understand? Not really, if you think about it.
So, the stigma.
That might be too much to ask. Stop it, him.
You're saying that the social stigma, as relayed by men, is just that they don't prefer women who have high body counts, right?
It's preference. Exactly, Andrew. I'm sure women would prefer to not to go out with someone who's been convicted of, say, a PDF file type deal. Oh, no, that was in my past life. I'm ready now to not do that anymore. Is anyone going to believe that person? Now, I'm not saying a PDF file kind of man is the same as a woman, sowing her wild oats, but I think you get my point. It's that disgusting. And everyone knows they're not going to go for someone who's been convicted of what. Not going to happen. But that preference is okay, isn't it? But if a man says, I think you've had too many cocks. No, you're shaming me. Am I? Really?
Sorry, you cut out there a second. Can you?
When you say slut shaming, what does that mean? Like, are men walking down the street and just calling women sluts, or
no? No. Let's get out the. You guys ready for the ASMR? Here we go. I promised. Here we go. Guinness. Oh yeah.
No, I mean the fact that I think the earlier conversation was women with a high body count don't necessarily deserve
right.
What was the term?
A traditional man.
A chivalrous or traditional man.
Well, right, because if you're expecting a traditional man, you should be acting like a traditional woman. Right? But you're not. So again, I want you to do something as a man, but you can't expect me to do something as a woman. Really? Well, how did that happen?
I was making that argument when it comes to sex workers, but sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, exactly, Craig. It is. Yeah. It's Craig Furness is here. Hello. JR's here. It is not men who are slut shaming. It is mom and auntie and grandma. And maybe even some of her friends. Female. What man who wants to go out and get laid is going to shame a slut for wanting to give him that? Nobody. Come on now.
Fine with that.
And so I think that, having that perspective is,
No, you're right, Shark Dentures. Yeah. Actually be a traditional woman, not just act like one, right? Like this girl over here. I think she's got a MAGA hat on. And yeah.
About how to articulate this. So the oppression comes from the judgment position, right? At the end of the day, the judgment does not lie with you, the individual. It lies between that person and who they are meeting at the end of their life. And so that's
what the fuck did you, what? I'm sorry. What did you just say? Hold on.
Position, right? At the end of the day, the judgment does not lie with you, the individual. It lies between that person and who they are meeting at the end of their life. And
so now you believe in God and Jesus or Allah or Yahweh, is that right? Now you're religious? Okay. Well, what does God tell you not to do? And this is for men too. You don't go out and fuck everything you can get your hands on. Are you doing that?
So that's where I think that trying to use our human bodies to influence other humans doesn't necessarily, I think that that's oppressive to that person. It's none of our business what's going on over there.
Did you? She must be one of those crystal kind of the world and spirits and fuck. I don't know.
What's
astrology?
Human bodies to influence other humans doesn't necessarily, I think that that's oppressive to that person. It's none of our business what's going on over there.
Engineer in Hickory Stripe Hat. Does anybody watch Drunk Stripper Cop Cams? Smart ass. Good to see you, Engineer.
Okay. Let's say
I
for
don't know
a
what
second
you said, but okay.
That, I don't know, 70% of men, or no, let's make it higher. Let's say 90% of men and 90% of women were not promiscuous and stayed virgins until the day they got married, and only 10% didn't. Would it be okay to slut shame then?
Slut shame the 10%?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think that you should shame anyone for their sexuality.
Of course you don't. What if a man got convicted of his sexuality? He was, liked him a little younger, but he's reformed now. Okay, you're okay with that? I think not.
Or activity.
Now,
what if a man is an R word? Is okay because that's what he likes? No. What's wrong with you?
okay, gotcha. So the oppression here, if it came from both men and women, would be creating the social stigma around the promiscuity, correct?
The oppression would be surrounding the promiscuity. Yeah.
Yeah, stigma around it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm anti this.
Yes.
Yeah, but the thing is like, can you think of a better way to influence out of society things that you don't want in society than using social stigma?
Okay, wait 1 second. Because someone has a great comment in the chat here. And that's the comment just drifted up. Tom Laundry, you guys shouldn't shame or judge me for sucking truck stop cocks for meth and heroin. You bringing me down, boys. Well, I'm just saying. You're right. Now, before the church was destroyed in the 50s by the Marxists and the fembots, 10% probably of Chad and 10% of women were out there fucking like monkeys, right? Okay. What did the sexual revolution accomplish? Think about it. What did it accomplish? It allowed the other 90% of women to fuck with abandon the 10% of men that were fucking anyway. I think we understand that, right? Take the church away. Take away any guardrails on your behavior. You know, whether you believe in God or not, that was like, hey, you shouldn't do this. It's bad. You know, if you're Jewish, here's the laws, do that, or Muslim, whatever. That's how society hung together for thousands of years. Don't do this shit because it's bad. It's going to be a problem. And you take that away, and what happens? As I said, women, oh, you can't control my body. Neither can you. Evidently.
I mean, I think you used this example recently, and like the rebuttal that came to mind for me would be prohibition, right? Like the government tried to kind of like get our drinking problem under control by.
Well,
no, excuse me. Oh no.
Government tried to kind of like get our drinking problem under control.
Women drove prohibition. Again, another thing they're not going to ever take responsibility for, because that's not the way women work. It's not my fault. That prohibition thing, oh no. It was women who drove that. Look at the history. Oh, my husband, he spends his entire paycheck drinking. We got to get rid of that Carrie Nation and all that other bullshit. So they pass it, and what happened? The same Chad 10% of men were still fucking the 10% of women who went out and fucked. They went to the speakeasies, and they did it illegally. Do you understand? Nothing they can be blamed for. It's always someone else's fault. Always.
Well, that
wasn't by stigma. That was via lawfare. So they just outlawed it outright. It was not due to social stigma. So nobody's outlawed.
Because the women bitched. Oh my God, my husband, he's an alkie, and he comes home and he beats me and he spends all the money and doesn't take care of the kid. I'm sure that happened. Was it widespread? No.
On you.
But there
quote,
was stigma that led to the
And if you think this hasn't happened before, look up the coffee issues that England had in the 1600s. Women were doing the same thing. You can't do that. You can't go to these coffee houses and have coffee. No. You have to come home. It's the same goddamn thing every single time.
Legislation.
From women, yeah. Women did that. That's correct. No, I'm not kidding.
No, women did that. Yeah. You're right, Andrew.
Really
I believe it. Women, I have no doubt.
Not only do you believe it, it's fucking true. If you spent any amount of time reading history, you know that.
They had the temperance movement, and that's what led to that. So, but the thing is
You're right, Brandon. You're absolutely right.
Social stigma, which was there, which led to lawfare, ended up being repealed very, very, very quickly. But nobody's talking about making a law that says that you can't be promiscuous. What I'm asking is, if there was a behavior in society which people didn't like, then creating a social stigma, wouldn't that be an efficient way to get rid of the behavior?
I don't think that it's a foolproof method, so I don't think.
Oh, look at this, an ad. Here I was just reading comments. Oh my God. Brandon's here. Look at his comment. He's so special. Oh, rock and roll. Yeah, do it. Do it now. I can find my window. There, we can skip it. All right, good, great.
I think that it's appropriate. No.
Well, what method would be appropriate?
I mean, I don't think you can control anyone.
Really? What about people who want to go out and murder people? Or cause harm to other people, or steal their shit, or I don't know, anything like that. You can't control these people. Well, when they fuck up, they go to jail, right? No one is saying that you shouldn't be able to go out and have all the cock you want. Go ahead, but there's a consequence. There's a consequence to that. Decent, God-fearing men, or atheist men, or whoever. They don't want to be involved in your 100 dudes. Just no, it's too much. And that brings me to my earlier point. I did have a thought. Is like, really, does it matter if this one woman had 100 cocks in 24 hours, or a woman who has 100 cocks in college? What's the difference? There isn't any.
Well, I mean, we control people all the time. I mean, you stop at a stop sign, right?
I mean, we're in California.
Yeah, she's laughing because she has no fucking response.
Yeah, I mean, you control them all the time. You put in lines and stop signs. You got to get driver's licenses.
There's a speed limit, and you got to have insurance on your car, and you can't go up and assault people. What the fuck are you talking about? Now, most people don't need laws to not do that. But, Jesus, God almighty, God.
To fill out paperwork, I mean, it's an entire grid. In fact, they say most of your day you were controlled. Like just getting from point A to point B.
Yeah, Zealot Master, Father Saunders would happily be, God damn, sticking it in a bucket of spit. He'd go for that.
Control, right? So I don't know what you mean by we don't control people. We definitely control people. We control the shit out of people.
It's called civilization. We agree to a certain set of guidelines that we will abide by. And most normal people, you don't even have to have laws against R word or stealing or theft or beating your neighbor. We just know this is not a good thing to do. We're civilized. We have a civilization. and we agree to a certain set of guidelines that we live by. What the fuck is she even talking about at this point? I have no idea.
So the question is like, why is it bad to have a social stigma against something in society that people tend not to care for? That seems fine to me.
I think that sex is a very natural part of life, and it should be talked about more freely in a way that is
Again, you're saying nothing. That's not his point. And I'm sure he's going to get around to
empowering and not
blah, blah, blah.
Diminishing. And
but what if somebody thinks that beating up their neighbor or assaulting people is part of their thing? Yeah, it's okay then.
That's where I think the true power of a person's sexuality comes from, in that education and having transparent conversations, not just with their friends, but with
you just want to be a slut with no complications or consequences in your life. Just admit
people that are talking.
It's fine if hey, I'm not going to sit here and judge you. It's not my job. You want to go out and be a slut, be a slut. But don't be surprised when the guys that you really want to marry your ass up and have kids with don't want you. That's the crux of the issue. There is a consequence, and that's why they're pushing back. Oh, you shouldn't do that. Well, we do. So yeah, I guess you fucked up.
To them about sex, like, I don't know. I've never heard this conversation kind of come up, but are you an abstinence-only sex education person, or are you a full... Like, what's your position on that? Do you think that they should teach abstinence only or all inclusive?
Excuse me. What does that have to do with the question? Nothing.
Yeah, I think that considering for most of our history, most women and men were virgins on their wedding night. This is a brand new occurrence. If you look at the rate of STIs, unplanned pregnancies, which lead to abortion.
I mean, Shark Dentures is getting all crazy up in here. Oh my God. Power of sexuality. Such a garbage. Well, I don't even know what that means. It's all fucking bullshit. It's like rah 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 rah. I don't. What did she say? I have no idea. It's all crap.
All of these other factors. I can't actually think of a good reason why we as a society would not want to promote abstinence until marriage. I actually can't think of a single good reason for that.
I mean, like I said, when I was younger, there was a little heavy petting going on, a little bit, and little jerking it. Yeah. I mean, we didn't all just jump into bed. Nowadays, it's like, oh, a date is actually fucking. Yeah, this is great. It's wonderful.
Do you have one?
Yeah, I think sexual health is a very good reason to teach all-inclusive sex education.
What would that have?
I don't care about the sex education. You can know how it's done. You still have to agree to do it, don't you? Yeah.
Got to do with sexual health.
Being aware of what's supposed to be happening with your body and what's not.
Yeah, you can be aware of all of that and stay abstinent.
Shark Dentures is on the screen now there, Thumper. And that was my point that Andrew just made. Yeah, you could be aware of all these things, but you still don't have to do it. You are still making the choice. And again, this is the women accountability. No, ain't my fault. It's that smooth guy I met down at the bar. Well, just say no then.
Like, what would that have to do if let's say we as a society, you still get sex ed, you know how all the parts function, how all the parts work, right? Nobody's saying you can outlaw that. We've had sex ed, by the way, for a long time.
Right.
But I don't agree with how it's taught now, by the way.
If we as a society said, okay, we're going to run a national campaign, and the national campaign is designed to promote abstinence until marriage and not sleeping around with people outside of marriage. What would actually be the negative side effect to society of that?
It's a good question, Andrew.
I think the misunderstanding of knowledge and the secretiveness is where the danger comes from. So just like I think the misunderstanding of knowledge and the secretiveness is where the danger comes from. I think the misunderstanding of knowledge and the secretiveness is where the danger comes from. So
he just said, teach all of the appropriate things. This is how it works. This is blah, 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 blah. Secret. What are you saying?
So just like if you tell a kid don't drink, right? Your parents all tell us don't drink. We all end up stealing alcohol from our parents and having bad experiences.
Or you could choose not to.
And so from my perspective, I think it's better
So
to
why not just hand them the beer?
I mean,
Exactly.
there are some parents that do.
Yeah. So I mean, so your argument here is like, you got to go fuck people, or else you're going to go fuck people.
I think you should have a pretty solid understanding of your sexual awareness before you go into a committed relationship. So why wouldn't we run a national
campaign? So why wouldn't we instead run a national campaign advising people to go have as much sex as possible?
I mean, I would tell people they should masturbate for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. You want a national campaign for masturbation? So your argument here is, so let me just ask you this.
Yeah.
If we ran a national campaign, just advertisements only from the federal government, a promotion, in other words, that people had more sex, do you think people would have more sex?
If we ran a national campaign that they should have more sex?
Yeah.
Do I think that they would?
Yeah.
That's a weighted question in today's media. I think.
Is it?
That if you're not a free thinker, yeah, you might be inclined to that. I look at.
Oh, God damn. You can imagine this woman out in the forest, with her crystals and her fucking potions and shit. Oh my God.
Anything coming from any sort of media.
Is she a witch kind of thing? Is she a believer in the witchcraft? Probably.
As educational material.
Well, this wouldn't just be media, right? Yeah, I mean, you can't say propaganda doesn't work.
Zealot Master, you have a good point. They have two classes. All right, here's the woman with the baby, and here's the man living in his car down by the river with nothing because everything in his paycheck has to go to support that thing. And only one of those two people have the option to not be a parent. Isn't that nice? Isn't that great? That's equal.
Look at smoking. Smoking you used to be able to smoke everywhere you ever wanted to smoke. And through massive media and government propaganda, it's been essentially outlawed everywhere. The only place you can really smoke is like outside, but even in some outdoor areas, it's usually confined now. And it used to be that if you were in that studio and it was filled with smoke, that would just have been life, right? So I mean, clearly it works. Same thing with getting people to smoke. They ran a huge campaign to do that, and it got almost everybody smoking. So I mean, clearly,
yeah, Brandon, that happened in Kansas, though. It's Kansas. It's Kansas. Yeah. Never happened in any other. My parents didn't drink, so yeah. Oh, my old man did, but
it works. So by that metric, knowing that.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So by that metric, knowing that, if you were to run a national campaign for abstinence, don't you think less people would have sex? If they saw that as like being patriotic and there was less social.
Now, back when I was a kid, I had a hunting license, right? And the hunting license was basically a carbon copy of your driver's license, right? And so all I did was change my birthday, and then I could buy the booze. It was crazy, I know.
There was a big social stigma against it, and all the government agencies were telling you, this is bad for the country. We need to not do this. Don't you think less people would have sex?
But then again, there was also a control system in place there. Because if you didn't have the ID, you had to ask an older guy or an older woman, but mostly guys. And they had some idea about you. And they might say, get you a six-pack. Or they might say, no, because they knew you. You could be an asshole or whatever, right? So that's the end of that video. I don't know what I heard from this woman here, but it sounded like a lot of nothing. A lot of words. I wonder if these women are trained to say a lot of freaking words and say nothing. It's amazing. It is amazing. Anyway, I got to go get my laundry out of the dryer or put it in the dryer. All right, boys. Thank you for coming by. See you later. And don't forget Brandon Trueblood being geeky in about an hour. Oh, see ya.